Welcome to the GCSE Maths Advantage. I'm Dr. James Carter, and every episode I'm going to break down one topic, show you where the marks are, and give you a quick win you can use in your next exam. Whether you're targeting a grade 7 or pushing for a 9. Let's get into it.
Hook. This one type of question lost more marks than any other on last year's GCSE papers, non-right triangles. Students picked the wrong rule, ignored the ambiguous SSA case, or mislabeled sides and angles, and suddenly a 5-mark question becomes a 0. You need a tiny checklist and one habit to stop that happening.
Here's what we'll cover in the next 12 minutes. The sine rule and when to use it, the cosine rule and the area formula half AB sin C, the ambiguous SSA case and how to check for it, and a one-line quick win you can use straight away. Sound useful? Let's work through this step by step. Section 1. The sine rule. Use the sine rule when you know either 2 angles and one side, or 2 sides and a non-included angle. In symbols, sine A over A equals sine B over B equals sine C over C. Say that aloud. Sine A on A. Writing it like this connects the angle to the opposite side. That's crucial. Why it works. Brief intuition. If you drop a perpendicular, the same height formula underpins both right and non-right triangles. The sine of an angle measures that height relative to the side, and that proportion stays constant across the triangle. You don't need to memorize a proof for GCSE, but understanding that link helps you label carefully and avoid mistakes. Worked sine example, step by step. Question. In triangle ABC, A equals 8, B equals 6, and A equals 42 degrees. Find angle B. Step 1. Label. Make a quick sketch. Write A opposite A, B opposite B. Step 2. Write the sine rule. Sine A over A equals sine B over B. Step 3. Rearrange to find sine B. Sine B equals B times sine A over A. Substitute numbers. Sine B equals 6 times sine 42 degrees over 8. Calculate sine 42 degrees, approximately 0.6691. So sine B approximately 6 times 0.6691 over 8, approximately 0.5018. Now take arcsine, B approximately 30 degrees. Important, the ambiguous case. After you compute sin B, you get a value like 0.5018. Arcsin returns an acute angle, here about 30 degrees, but there is a second possibility. 180 degrees minus 30 degrees equals 150 degrees. That can be a valid angle if the 3 angles still add to 180 degrees. Always do the quick sum check. A plus candidate B less than 180 degrees. For our numbers, 42 degrees plus 150 degrees equals 192 degrees. Impossible, so the correct B is 30 degrees. Don't skip that check. Examiners see it all the time. Section 2. The cosine rule and area formula. Use the cosine rule when you know 2 sides and the included angle, or 3 sides and you need an angle. The formula is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c. It reduces to Pythagoras when the angle is 90 degrees, which is a nice check. Worked cosine example. Question. In triangle ABC, A equals 7, B equals 8, and C equals 60 degrees. Find side C. Step 1. Write cosine rule. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. Substitute. C squared equals 7 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 7 times 8 times cos 60 degrees. That's 49 plus 64 minus 112 times 0.5 equals 113 minus 56 equals 57. So C equals square root of 57 equals 7.55. Write your intermediate line C squared equals 57 before taking the square root. That secures method marks. Area using 2 sides and included angle, quick and exact. Area equals 1/2 times A times B times sin C. Using the same A and B and C equals 60 degrees, area equals 0.5 times 7 times 8 times sin 60 degrees equals 28 times 0.8660, approximately 24.25. This formula is often the simplest way to get an exact area without dropping perpendiculars.
Section 3. Exam technique. Where the marks are. For a typical triangle question, you might see M1 for writing the correct formula, sine or cosine, M1 for the algebraic rearrangement or substitution, and A1 for the correct final answer. So even if you can't finish, writing the right formula and one correct substitution often gets you marks. Write it down, don't just think it.
Common marking pitfalls to avoid: mislabeling sides and angles, using the sine rule when the angle given is the included angle. You need cosine for that. Forgetting the supplementary angle in the SSA case, and rounding too early. Write intermediate values to 2 or 3 decimal places, but keep the exact formula shown on the page for M1. Examiners love to see your method. That's where the marks are.
Quick win, a 30-second decision checklist you can say to yourself before you pick a rule. 1. What information is given? 2 angles, 2 sides and an included angle, 2 sides and a non-included angle. 2. If you have 2 angles and a side, use sine rule for sides. 3. If you have 2 sides and the included angle, cosine rule for the third side. 4. If you have 2 sides and a non-included angle, use sine rule but check the ambiguous case. 5. If you have 2 sides and the included angle and you want area, use half AB sin C. Repeat that checklist fast in your head and you'll pick the right method every time.
A 10-second numerical check that catches most errors. After you compute an angle from arcsine, always calculate 180 degrees minus angle and test whether A plus candidate B less than 180 degrees. Also check that the side opposite the largest angle is the largest side. If not, something's wrong. These 2 quick checks catch about 90% of the mistakes students make.
Active practice. Try this now. In triangle ABC, A equals 8, B equals 6, A equals 42 degrees. Find angle B and show your working. What to write to secure marks? Sketch and label the triangle. Write sin A over A equals sin B over B. Rearrange to sin B equals B sin A over A. Substitute numbers. Compute sin B and then arcsin, and then do the supplementary check. You should get B equals 30 degrees. If you wrote those intermediate steps, you banked M1 and A1 even before the final number.
That's your quick win for today. If this helped, share it with a friend who's revising. You'll find more worked solutions and printable diagrams at jcacademyonline.co.uk. Stay curious.
If you want 50 step-by-step worked solutions covering every triangle type and the ambiguous case, check the link in the show notes. Until next time, trust the process and nail that exam.